Middle class, yeah. Literacy, you got to get away from those books and controlled by the printing press and the highfalutin intellectual. I've written enough books to destroy several forests and trees in Canada. I'll plead guilty, but yet. And by the way, when you learn how to move electrons around on screens and move and store compact disc stuff, you can still read. You can still curl up on the beach and read, and well, to your heart's desire. You're not giving anything up. You're adding a tremendous dimension to your mind and your skill. Okay, now, boys and girls, is that a locker room pep talk or what? Huh? Okay. Please turn these spots out. Huh? Okay. Turn the spots out, please. There we go. Yeah, and put the house out. More house lights.
Yeah!
I want to see what suspects we've rounded up tonight. Oh, this is a rowdy group. Oh my God. Cybernetic outlaws, wall to wall. Yeah.
You're fake on the computer. Now that's fine. What about the one-on-one communication?
One-on-one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
What's wrong with talking to one
you want to do braille with each other? You want to look at each other? You want to eyeball, or you want to send signals?
In person. Yeah.
Yeah, you can send you one-on-one on. That's I'm telling you about. In France right now, like 50% of all the telephone messages are computerized messages of boy to girl or boy to boy. It's one-on-one. See, but you're not just exchanging precious bodily fluids. You're hooking up the most incredible pleasure organ of all, your brain, to the brain of the other person. Cybernetic sex. Thank you. Yeah. Are we still on? San Francisco. Yeah.
Tim, recently several authors such as Bob Wilson and Charles
Robert Wilson. Hey, right. Good traveling, absolutely, yeah.
They have written books using your 8th circuit model of consciousness. So I wonder if you would comment on that and if you have updated those models in any new ways.
Yeah, I wrote a book called Exopsychology. I'm basically a mathematical psychologist. I'm a quantum psychologist, and I'm trying to work out, yeah, I wrote a book called Exopsychology when I was in prison, and it emphasized getting out into space for obvious reasons. The space movement, boomed in the 70s, and I was proud to be part of the civilianization of space. But when Reagan got into power, there was no more civilian space. It was all weapons, 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 weapons. So I've reissued, to come back to your question, Exopsychology. It's now out in a book published by Falcon Press called Infopsychology. And we're talking about not just going out rocketing into space, but see, the notion that Gibson talks about, he talks about cyberspace, and computer jockeys and computer wrestlers can jack in through templates and the electrodes. They can jack in to cyberspace, which is the collection of all quantum information probably around the globe. It's kind of vague, but he's really talking about the human brain, of course. So.
What about your new software?
The new software. Well, a lot of us who've looked at the personal computer situation have groaned and moaned about, my God, why does it take so long to get a piece of software? Oh, it's great for business, great for desktop publishing, it's great for, dealing with the old stuff. But how come my problem is, I've got a wife who's a very trendy, alert, sophisticated mind, and I've got a 13-year-old son, and they're bored to death by the software. there's no software that a sophisticated, interesting, fast-moving mind would fool around with. How long can you play Dungeons and Dragons? So for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been working with some really brilliant people in this field, cyberpunks and cyber pilots, and trying to develop software that challenges the human mind. And right now we're working on actually we're doing a software project for Neuromancer. We've got lined up as writers the project people like William Burroughs, Naked Lunch. We're using Gibson. I think Gibson is one of the most. See, Gibson comes from a line of literature which comes from James Joyce to William Burroughs to Thomas Pynchon to Philip Dick, and then you got Gibson, and you got the other. And I would throw Robert Acton Wilson in that group too. So we're developing software that. Number one, of course, now that we have the new enhanced graphics like the Apple GS and the Amiga, you want to see that screen, it's going to just absolutely crawl all over your eyeballs because you can put things there that you've never really seen moving. So we want to have screens that are, you walk into a room, what is that? It's not just Mickey Mouse little Dungeons and Dragons features, but something that will pay respect to your aesthetic elegance and with choice of moving ideas around that you deserve. So anyway, we're working on a master. We're making on a program. I've got this program, Mind Mirror. I don't know if anybody's seen it. It was done brilliantly by Electronic Arts, and Electronic Arts has got some very sophisticated people down there. Stuart Bond and Tim Mott, and a lot of fine people. And Mind Mirror is still out there. It was really a pioneer project. I'm very proud of it. It was never a great hit. I don't know why. Maybe people don't want to know how they're thinking. Maybe you want a mind mirror. You want to really see what's on your mind. Get out of here. Or you want to show me what's on your mind. You boot up Mind Mirror and let's get some of your thought. Yeah, sure. See what the ultimate thing is, the ultimate intimacy is you can fall in love with someone, you can sleep with them, safe sex, of course, and then you can even get married. But the real intimacy is where you show them your personal database. Show you Mind Mirror. What I really think. Anyway, we're working hard. We're not working hard. We're playing hard and having a lot of fun. And we got about 6 programs that are coming along. We got a program based on the Hermann Hesse's The Glass Bead Game. Have you ever read that? Yeah. In the 60s, we were all, taking psychedelic drugs, and we read Steppenwolf and Siddhartha and Journey to the East. That's a magnificent book, Journey to the East. We're all on that great voyage. It should have been Journey to the West, of course, but anyway. Then he wrote a book called The Glass Bead Game. Extraordinary book. He won the Nobel Prize for it, but it's too heavy and pedantic, so nobody really read it. It's about a group of people that were in the Castelia Foundation who had got this bead game of putting colored beads on big major abacus things. And first they could do it with mathematics, take any mathematical concept, and then music, and then they got ideas, and they were actually stringing ideas together. What Hesse was writing about was a computer before Alan Turing even. It was done in the late 30s and 40s. And the same problems of AI, the Castelia, the League, got into an AI cult, and pretty soon they were running the country because all education naturally used the AI systems, and they got farther and farther removed from daily life, and they weren't getting married, and they weren't, and it was very male, macho, priest-like. And finally the head guy said, hey, he becomes a cyberpunk. He says, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. Well, you can't leave, man. You're the top AI guy. You're the Marvin Minsky of Cambridge, You're McCarthy. You're the high AI guy. You can't quit. He said, well, I am. He said, your order not to. He said, I'm not going to take your orders anymore. I said, well, if you won't take the orders of the AI priesthood coming down from MIT, Stanford, whose orders are you going to take? He says, I shall do what my own heart commands. Now, that fucker was written 30 years ago. It's all about stuff. We're making a incredibly interesting computer software package of that. And a lot of the 8th level stuff is in that, too. And we've got this software program based on Hermann Hesse. that you can take any ideas that are in an order, you know, ages, stages, anything that comes in order, and you move them around and shift them around, you can build up clusters of ideas. In a way, it's going to be a new language, which we certainly need. Yes, sir. Where? Where do we find this? Well, it's not out yet. We're working on it. And when you're ready for it, the dealer will bring it to your door.
You said earlier, who knows what's going to happen in the next 15 years, any leaders. You really mind, do we all know that we elected a man who's finally been proven to be a goddamn liar?
This young lady says that, do you know that we've elected a man who's a goddamn liar? Do you know?
What's new about that?
Yeah, what's new about that?
Next time, for God's sake.
I don't know. Who should we elect? Who should we elect? We're definitely going to think about it. Well, there's a letter in the LA Times today. If any of you see the LA Times, it's written by a man named Irving Blum. And it says this guy is nominating someone for president. He's going to nominate as president a man who is the most respected political leader in the world, who is the worst deadly enemy of communism, and he's in favor of free enterprise, and on, and he's against the bureaucracies for modern ideas. He's got a very attractive, fashionable wife that he's faithful to, Mike Gorbachev. It's pretty funny, because I knew that, you see, the Russian embassy and the Russian consulate, I'm sure they got that. I'm sure they're laughing their Russian heads off. Hey, look at that, comrade. Here's this guy, Irving Blum, and he's Jewish, and he wants to run our man for president of the United States. Well, I'll let you in a little secret. I wrote that. One of my hobbies, I wake up in the morning, I read the paper, and I drink coffee, and I get so fucking pissed off that I have to do something to get rid of all this stuff and cluttering up my files. So I tend to write letters to the editor. But I use different names. Irving Blum is the name of a cat we had that died. And Irving Blum has had about 12 letters printed, and it's very outrageous, too. My son has got a different last name than mine, named Zachary Chase, and I wrote a letter attacking the Attorney General of the United States, totally demolishing him, and I signed Zachy's name. I never thought it would get published. So the kid went to school, and the teachers were all saying, well, Zach, you're wonderful. We knew you were smart, but my God. And all the students said, hey, that's far out, man. So during the day when my wife said, look what you've done now. Zachy's going to be pissed off when he comes home. So I was trembling all day for the kid to come home. He's going to call me into the study and read the riot act. Hey, Dad, write another. That was great. That's the answer. I don't know. There's not going to be another president. Listen, the Constitution of the United States was written 200 years ago. It wasn't even written, it was not printed, it was hand done. We're talking about a document written by, it's pre-industrial. That comes from feudal, you know, all that scrolling stuff. That's Vatican stuff. The time that Constitution was written, it took like a week to go by horseback from what? From Boston or South Carolina to Washington. And it was a slave economy. It was a pathetic, it was not even industrial. See, America 200 years ago was not even an industrial society. It was a hand tool society. Now, you had to have representatives then. It was a hot shit to be able to vote to send your man to Rome or to London or whatever. But now, what intelligent human being would send Tip O'Neill or Senator Helms? I wouldn't send them across the street to buy a six-pack of beer, would you? Talk about representative. Fuck off. You're not representing me. You're representing yourself and your own posterior and your own party. So it's a joke, this representational government. And the idea of having a president, it's a ridiculous joke, you know, like poor Hart, and, you know, I mean, they're all being put through this, who would want to be president? The last 7 presidents have all been destroyed. Reagan, look at it, Carter, Ford, Nixon, right down the line. The presidency is finished. No one can possibly want a queen. I'd vote for Ronnie Reagan as queen. Would you like the queen of England? That's okay. As long as you can't have any guns, see? But what the Democrats would do if they were smart, there's 7 dwarfs, that's okay. We'll run as a team. See, it's like basketball, man. It's not a one-man sport. That's monotheism, or that's kings or emperors. It's going to be a team. So let's see, we're going to have we'll have Jesse Jackson. He'll be in charge of DEA, okay? We got that Sam Nunn. He's a big shot in defense. We'll make him head of defense, and we'll make Gary. What's his name? Hart. Yeah. What we do with him? The poor hick from Colorado. We'll put him in. Yeah, he's good. We'll put him in Secretary of State. He's got a lot of good ideas. Right? So then, they run as a team, see? And for the guy that's going to run the whole thing, that guy looks like Truman from Simon. Let him be the front man, see? But it's a team, man. See, it's like a basketball, you know. There's 5 or 7 bouncing around to hand it. And in that case, if you catch one of them in bed with a bikini blonde or whatever, and it's not going to be the end of the world anyway. That's who am I to say? What do I know? You know, I don't.
Mark opted out. He said, "Man, get out of it. He didn't want to be."
Okay, I guess so. Guy just wanted to get laid, huh? I mean, that's pretty old-fashioned. Okay, you want to shoot 2 more questions?
Hunter Thompson.
Hunter, want to hear about Hunter Thompson?
No.
Well, I love Hunter Thompson. You know, I never met Hunter Thompson all these years, but the mad programmers of this, what? Anyway, I was in a deal in Seattle, Washington about 2 months ago, in which they had, and who thought this up? It was like a debate or a tri-bate between Abbie Hoffman, Hunter Thompson, and myself. Now, I've read all of his books many times. I love his books. I follow his exploits as Ambassador Duke in Doonesbury. He called me a couple of times, although we never met. I'd get phone calls late at night, about 3 in the morning, from someone who said it was Hunter Thompson wanting dangerous drugs. And I had to tell him to fuck off. But I don't think that could have been Hunter. No. Yeah. Anyway, I met him in Seattle. I'll never forget. He came down from the plane, and man, he had a paper bag in one hand. He had that cigarette with a holder. He had that baseball hat. He said, "Let's get drunk, Timmy." And Abbie came off the plane with a bandana like a rustler. I looked at these 2 guys, and for the first time in my life, I felt like the squarest guy in the house. I was out of my league. We're talking major troublemakers here. Anyway, there was a press conference. The press conference, of course, I showed up, and then Abbie showed up. Finally, Hunter showed up, and he started drinking whiskey, and the press was taking it very seriously. He said, "Oh, Mr. Thompson, what do you think of the college students today?" Generation of swine. "Well, Mr. Thompson, what do you think of the college students 20 years ago?" Generation of swine. When it came time for the lectures, 8 o'clock, boy, they love, Hunter Thompson is an extremely popular person in this country among young people. He's a fabulous, like Robert Anton Wilson, fabulous. You don't really realize how popular and wonderful it is. Anyway, it's an enormous crowd, and about time to go, 10 of 8, I said, "Hey, let's go." And I went down to Hunter's room, and Hunter's on the phone talking to someone named Tony, telling Tony to get his ass over there, something about an 8-ball, so I couldn't follow that. Then it turned out that Hunter had suckered Abbie Hoffman into a $100 bet on the Houston Sonics or the Rockets basketball game, and shit, it's only the second quarter. So really, these guys are not going to show up to that lecture, but I think good. Because the only chance I'm going to have to talk is if I get there first. So I went to the studio. Get me over there. Beautiful, beautiful backstage thing. And I got out there and I said, "Well, I'm like the warm-up for the Joan Rivers show." And I'll tell you what I had in my mind. And after about 20 minutes, they come in and Abbie gives this incredible talk. Oh, yeah. Boy, stem whining and kicking ass at the CIA and all that. Then Hunter got up there, and Hunter kind of mumbling, he said to me, "Hey, Tim, has Tony come?" I said, "What?" "Tony, Tony." "Well, I don't know." He said, "Walk aside, see if Tony's in the back room." So I walked up there in the back room. Well, Tony had definitely come because the air was all blue with some resinous smoke. I said, is there a gentleman named Tony here? This guy said, come here. Took me down this hallway, and he pressed a small envelope in my hand, and he pushed me into a men's room. Well, you know, I'm basically a scientist. And furthermore, as an older person, I thought it was my duty to protect young fellas like Hunter Thompson from any dangerous substance, so I did make a kind of a scientific test of it, and came bounding back into the room, and then Hunter left, and Hunter came back, and then that was the end of the debate. It was just boom. I mean, but Hunter is really one of those people that is great at reverse than his reputation, which is great. So, yeah. Okay. What?
Uncle Jim, you still working on your smile?
Yeah, working on my smile. Yeah, damn right.
Eric Drexler's Eric Drexler.
Eric Drexler has written a book called Engines of Creation, is it?
Yeah.
It's about nanotechnology, atom shuffling, it's Eighth Circuit, it's the future, it's the stages that we're going to go through. We're now going through, we're discovering the brain. Through the use of a private personal computer, we're finally discovering how to maneuver around the brain. See, we only knew that the world was round, Columbus. We're just now learning, hey, big news, folks, there's a left brain and a right brain. No shit. There's a north brain and a south brain. No shit. Yeah, and there's Australia too. No shit. We need to learn how to map the brain. So that's very exciting, and Gibson is teaching about that. And of course, the guys down in Xerox PARC and Apple Computer, they're the ones that started all that. And so there's no, boy, they were taking a lot of acid too, you know that. And it was interesting to see the next step is going to be genetic. You're going to learn how to. It's all in Gibson too. We're not going to be victims of biology. If you don't like the way you look, you know, if you don't like the way you dress, you can change your dress, you can change your hair. If you don't like the way you look, you can have muscle implants. Hey, you can be Schwarzenegger for a while. If you don't like your color, you can change it. Never mind racism and color. You can be any color you want. You know, we're not going to be helpless victims of biology or psychology. We're going to take responsible navigational pilot control of our lives. There's going to be nothing that we do for our, you know, you can't fuck around with anybody else, but whatever you want to be able to do, you can raise your IQ. Now, there's no more one IQ. There's like 382 dimensions of intelligence. So if you want your mathematical to go up, and by the way, we're developing new learning devices that can help you learn so fast, it's so fun that you can't believe it. So you'll be as smart as you want. You'll look exactly the way you want to. There's no excuse for a human being in the 21st century to accept any helplessness, or impotence, or passivity, or blaming it on genes or whatever. It's up to you. You've got to take pilot control of your own life. Now, if that isn't a fucking pep talk, locker room spellbinding, rabbi, priest talk, go for it. I'll see you in 20 years. Thank you. Good night.